And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara podcast. Here's Jeff.
My guest is Tim Yarbrough, who had a near-death experience due to having a widowmaker heart attack, which we're going to learn about and more. Tim, thanks for joining me and welcome.
Thanks for having me, Jeff. It's an honor to be here.
Well, it's my honor to have you as a guest, Tim. And if you don't mind, let's start on the day that you had that heart attack and go from there.
You sure can. I will back off just a little bit. I had a great deal of wealth and a gala wife, going to all of the galas and the tuxedos, things of that nature. I started out very poor, a small boy from a small village, and I gained a good bit of wealth. And unfortunately, when you reach so high, the people that are higher than you will say, "Oh, I want this." And they did. So I lost all of my wealth in 3 weeks. And then my society wife decided she wanted to divorce me. Unbeknownst to me, I was having more stress than I thought. And the doctors had always said, because I had been a triathlete, long distance bicyclist, that I was immune to a heart attack. So we'll go to the day this happened. I was up a tree and I was cutting limbs for a friend of mine with a chainsaw. Had a good half day of work, came down, threw the chainsaw in the truck and started to drive home. And then I had what felt like a sledgehammer hitting me right center of chest. And I says, "By God, that feels like a heart attack." I said, "No, it couldn't be." So I started feeling worse. So I drove to a 7-Eleven and I parked directly in front of a propane exchange cage. And all of a sudden, oh my God, the pain hit. And then the pain went away. I said, "My God, I'm dying. I don't have time to do this. My day planner says I have to live to be 120. So sure enough, pow. And I'm looking down at this old decrepit body in a truck. And I said, "I cannot believe I am actually dying and a heart attack." They said I'd never have a heart attack, those lying doctors. And the first thing is I said, "I don't have time for this." And as I'm going up, I said, "This is real." And let me give one little thing before I get into what happened. I've talked to many people that have had near-death experiences, and they run the gamut. Some people feel that they've gone to hell, some have gone to heaven. But let me tell the audience and you, it's like putting your head inside the Louvre and looking around at the museum. Some people will come back and try to tell you that they know the secrets of life. And let you talk to your dead relatives, things of that nature. I've had coffee that's made me have the elders come back, but never actually being able to talk to them. Beware of the charlatans. Beware of the people that try to tell you that, "Oh, I know this," and come to appreciate the beauty and wonderful ideas of mystery. Because our brains aren't wired to know all the truth. So that is kind of like Christmas presents. Hey, it's actually seasonal. But I look and I see all the gifts under the tree, and I know that when I am ready, God will allow me to know all of this. For all you know, Jeff, you may have 500 senses, not just 6 or 5 if you. But there's such a wealth waiting for us, but don't let people trick you. Find the truth yourself. Be happy and know that it will be revealed. Mystery is cool. But anyway, here I am, stuck between body and heaven, and I start going up this bright tunnel, just like so many said, and I said, "Oh, dang, I am really dead." And as I'm going up, I started having all of the, "Oh my God, how are my family going to live? How are they going to, they're not even able to find all the stuff I've got." How will they do this, that, the other? And have you ever read about Gulliver's Travels?
I'm aware of it, but I don't think I've ever read it.
Oh, you should. Gulliver was in a country of Lilliputians about that big. And he was the giant, and I'm the God of all of you little people. Fear me. And while he was asleep, they all got together and using threads, they crisscrossed his body with so many threads tied into the ground. He woke up and didn't understand, oh my God, I can't move. And when little people really rise up, no telling what they'll do. But he found himself where he couldn't move. And life will do that to us, Jeff. All of the ennui of life just wrapping us down, keeping us from being who we should be, keeping us from being happy, kind, and giving. And as I was going up the tunnel, it's just like each one of those little wires holding me tethered to the ground was severed. And each time they do it, who knows what that might be? It might be guilt. It might be something I'd done against someone. It might be hurts. But you become so light. You start going up higher. And when all of those little threads went away, I looked down and my body was a good bit distance away from me. And I said, well, this is a big one. And I looked down and I said, family, forgive me for all I didn't do. God, protect them. You be me. My dad died when I was 10, and God said, I will be the father to the fatherless. So then my vision went from down. I had done all I could, and I looked up, and the peace and the joy and the freedom was insurpassable. And I start rising up, 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 and all I could do is say, let me see the face of God and die. Because in the Christian Bible, it says to look upon the face of God is to die. And that doesn't mean, you're going to die. It means you're going to transfer from dimensions, whatever you may be. And so I kept going up and up, and I kept saying, let me look upon the face of God and die. And this went on for a good bit. And the expectation was better than getting your first kiss. I was just absolutely enthralled with the experience. I was happy, freer than I'd ever been. And I said, let me look upon the face of you and die. And then through a telepathic link of something, I heard the voice say, Tim, it's not your time. You have to go back. And that is the last thing I wanted, expected, but nevertheless, there it was. And I said, oh no, I'm not going back. And I literally tried to hold myself in the little tunnel, which I don't know if I could actually feel anything or not, but forgive me. But at that point, I started cussing him. Oh, I said some horrible things. And the whole way down, I was cussing like a sailor, but I did call him a. But then, since we do not really know who God's dad was, I guess that's not really too bad to tell him that. But down, down, down I go, and I'm trying. I said, not to the cesspool, not to the cesspool, please. And then, bam, that pain in my heart came back. And I went, oh, darn. Well, actually, I said much worse. And prior to this, I had been told that you should keep an aspirin in your wallet should anybody have a heart attack. You put that subdural under the tongue, and it's supposed to help them come back. Well, Jeff, I had put a Bayer aspirin in my wallet 3 to 4 years beforehand. It tasted like ass and leather. So I got this crumbly thing out and tried to get as much as I could and put it sublingual, and I started feeling a little bit better. And I said, well, I guess I'll drive myself to the hospital. Very slowly I went. And if you ever get sick in your car, never, never, never pull to the side of the road. I was a police officer for many years, way back, when the horse and buggies. They'll just let you rot there at the side of the road. Stay right in your lane, turn your flashers on, put it in park, turn it off, and wait for help. But never, never, never get off that road. So I get in there, and oh my God, everybody takes me up and says, your widowmaker, which is the valve controlling all the blood to your heart, comes in to your heart. And they said, you're totally blocked. You should be dead. And I said, well, I was, as a matter of fact, just a little bit ago, but I guess I still got a little bit of life in me. Rushed into surgery, and here I am today. People say, well, Tim, what in the world made you come back? And again, it's, as you probably read on the Facebook page where you wrote, when I had put in a comment, I've done a lot of writing, and I've actually helped so many people come to terms with being peaceful with life. So I'm so glad I did. And some of these people, knowing their situation, I would have gladly traded place with their sons, daughters, or them. Said, look, I'm okay with going. If I could bring them back, I would. I have a joke that I say. They say, Tim, why are you still here? And I said, well, I think it's a restraining order from Satan. I don't know. But that's basically where it is. And since that time, I try to be kind. I come from a very spiritual family, and I've gone to the point where you could call me more hermetic, where I can worship our God from Christianity, from Jewish to Muslim. I have friends all over the world. And as long as we're worshiping the one true source of all of us that we have here, we're brothers, we're sisters, we're family. And we need to be kind. We need to open up and embrace everybody's experience. We're all trying to get to the same place. But that's my little story.
Tim, thanks for sharing your story with us. Who do you think the voice was that told you to come back?
I would call it God. And God has many names: Jehovah Jireh, Allah, and I can use any of these. If you look at the Hermetic principles, this is nothing new. This goes back as long as there's been people. And there is a force of good, and there is a creator. And like I told you, I am not able to know who he is, what his plan is, but I can certainly show the love that he gives me to others. So, there's some people that are atheists, they've really got to use a lot of faith for that. I look around at our beautiful universe and I say, my God, look at the diversity just in bumblebees and butterflies and birds and people. So it's just a wonderful, wonderful world to live in. They created it. And you and I will know, maybe hundreds of years from now, under this time, if there actually is time, you and I can meet on the other side and we can frolic a little bit and say, good God, this is better than anything I expected.
Earlier, you also referred to this place as a cesspool.
Down here, yeah, compared to the love and kindness and the not having the hatred, not having people fight. Like right now, my God, we're so close to World War III that if you sneeze wrong, we're all going to blow up. Well, none of that greed, avarice.
Why do you think
there is none?
Why do you think it is that way here?
I have no idea. Maybe we're a planet that they send all the defective people to, kind of like Australia was at one time. Throw all those people into Earth. Man, it's getting a little nasty down there. So, again, there's a beauty in not knowing. And there's a peace that you have the faith that I don't have to know to let this go the whole way. So again, you and I will know one day. But if someone comes trying to tell you, Jeff, you need to hold this omelet for only $15, I will send it to you and we will take that negative energy away from you. Just go, no.
After your experience, did you notice that you had any new abilities that could be considered psychic?
I had been gifted with that ever since I was very young. As a matter of fact, I had been a Baptist, and at 7 years old, I'd been going on a little bus. And suddenly I looked, and all of the elders of the church and the pastor had come to talk to my mother and father. And they said, little Timmy is a gift from God, and we want him to start preaching in the pulpit next week. And my parents listened. We became Lutheran that day. So all of my life and from all of my family, we have had heredity given psychic abilities. So everybody has it one way or another, but I've been either blessed or cursed with it, however you feel it.
You did get to take a look around inside a little bit, like poking your head in the Louvre.
Poked my head in.
Can you tell us what you saw?
All I had was a very white, bright light, and I didn't have music. I guess I had the service elevator, but it was so beautiful and peaceful that I've never had that before, never had that since. But I look forward to having it again. I'll tell you, if that old Grim Reaper comes for me again, I'm going to grab her like my best lover, and I'm not going to let her go.
Well, how did you change after your experience?
Not a great deal. I was pretty much the way I am now. I like to be kind. I do have the warrior. I was a police officer, and if you have to be able to be capable of great violence, to be very peaceful and loving. If you're not capable of doing the violence to protect those you love and those that are innocent, you're just basically worthless. I choose to be kind. Some people are just, I don't want to say weak, but, I'm a warrior at the same time. So I haven't changed a lot, except every day I wake up after 20 years and say, you ready for me yet? And obviously I don't get it. So because I'm still here. Maybe it was just to meet Jeff.
You never know. If you had a friend that was grieving over the loss of a loved one, what kind of advice would you give?
I have that often, very often. And all I can say is entropy is real. The moment we're born and when that beautiful bright light of the spermatozoa going into the egg happens, and it does, the moment that egg is fertilized, it has a burst of light. It's a beautiful thing to watch. You should Google it. But from that moment on, we're slowly dying. Nobody gets out of this alive. So be at peace. And I tell them the peace that I see. And I tell them the only hard part about dying is leaving, is having the people that are left have to do without you. The person himself, they're skipping if they were in pain or if they were ill. If the peace that I had is any indication, they're happy. So The big part is learning to process the pain for us. And a lot of the grief is selfishness. You know, some people are 89 years old and sick, and they don't want to let go. And you've got to let them go. You've got to realize this is just one brief stop on our life, very brief stop. And everything that you have is like monopoly money. I don't care how many hotels you have. You know, I was quite wealthy and I was quite generous, but it's all monopoly money. It doesn't mean a thing.
Can you give my audience some practical advice on how to live a peaceful life?
Throw off all the grudges and all of the expectations that you have. What you expected from life versus the reality of what you have, they're very different. I went from very poor, started work at 10 years old, to feed a family of 4 children and my mother. The youngest one was about 10 months old when my dad died. And I had my son for Father's Day give me a book that says, Dad, I want to know you. And it wants to know all of your thoughts and feelings as you were growing up and living. And I said, I don't want to really relive all of the pain that I've had to endure. And, you know, I'm still having to deal with that. I said, did I really want to say that stuff? But lay down the grudges. Be thankful and grateful, because most people spend their time always wanting more. Let me get some scratch offs. I hope I win the lottery. Well, that's not really going to make you happier. I've sat in billionaires' kitchens, and the whole time, all they could do is bitch about how much they hated this person, that person. So I went over to his kitchen and got out a wastebasket. And I put it between two chairs and I said, sit here. And I started going through his trash. He says, what the hell are you doing, Tim? And I said, all you want to do, you're a billionaire. The whole world is at your feet. You say something, you have something. And all you can do is complain, bitch, and moan. This person didn't do that. This person didn't respect me. Oh, I just don't like how this. Shut up and enjoy it. It may not last. I was picking banana peels up out of his garbage. And he says, you know what? You're right. I need to stop this. I am going to try to be grateful. I said, it's kind of hard not to be grateful with looking around at this mansion. He says, surprisingly, it is. And I said, yeah, when I had my mansion, 6-bedroom, 8-bathroom, 6.5 acres with the horses, the first month you say, oh, wow, look what I've got. But after about 6 weeks, it's just home. So anyway, appreciate what you've been given. If you're healthy, keep yourself healthy. Go run, go work out. If you've got people that love you, love them. If you've got family, gather them close to your arms today and hug them. Have a good Thanksgiving. And drop all the that's going to hurt everybody. Be kind. Be kind. That should get you a good life.
Has the memory of this experience faded over time?
Not at all. It's they describe flashbulb events like, where were you when John F. Kennedy was shot? There are certain events that imprint themselves upon your psyche and your mind that, you know, I can remember I was in 6th grade when they came in and said, John Fitzgerald Kennedy has died. And, you know, a lot of the kids were crying. I says, I know he's a president, but I don't feel like crying. But that was that's the biggest flashbulb event. Can you imagine dying, Jeff? My goodness, that really will put itself ingrained into your memory. I still, you know, if I ever start to grumble or not be loving, not be the way I should be, I'll remember that. And I'll say, well, maybe the longer you're kind, or the quicker they'll come back and get you again.
After your surgery, did you mention to any of the doctors or nurses that you had a near-death experience? And if
I
so,
did. They said it's not unusual.
did they have any other comments about it?
Not at all. They hear all sorts of stuff.
They believed you?
Oh, very much so.
That's great.
And I'm somewhat of a joker, Jeff. As I was on the gurney going in, I said, Doctor, can I ask you a personal favor? And he says, well, yes. And I said, I may not wake up after this goes on, right? He says, you might not. I said, tell my children don't collect my body. The county will have to burn me for free. Yes, it's a joke. Humor means so much in this world. That's one more thing. Keep a humorous side. Go watch some Monty Python, Mel Brooks. Laugh. Make jokes with the people close to you. Let them tease you. Look at your situation in life and laugh. My God, I'm 72 years old, and you have to realize there's only so many grains left in that hourglass going down, and hey, she's got to be coming back for me soon. Laugh and enjoy it. Be kind.
After your experience, did you feel like you just loved everybody?
No, there's still some really evil people out there that I don't like. However, God may or may not have a plan for them. So I do my best to be kind to them anyway. Doesn't mean I love or like them, but I will love them in a godly way, because it's more than this human body could do. I couldn't love an Idi Amin or someone like that, but God does. I don't know why, but he does.
Did you happen to have a life review at all?
I did not. Many people have that I've talked to, but I remember looking back and seeing my body and regrets of the things I didn't do, for my family. I said, I wanted to do more, but I didn't have that big screen event. But I do have people that have bought tickets saying, when he gets that full review, I want to watch. And there's some people I want to watch too.
Tim, if you don't mind sharing with us, what did you do to create this wealth, and how did you lose it all?
Oh, my goodness. I had multiple businesses. I've done everything. I was the first person to put a computer in a power plant. I had research and development companies that we developed universal emulsifier that would allow me to clean railroad tank cars using robotics, and nobody had to go in and possibly die. And I just had different types of businesses. And unfortunately, when you get too big, the people on top say, oh, he's got too much, I'm going to take his. That's what happened to me. They said, oh my, he's not one of us. So they actually came in and pulled credit lines, and suddenly you go, I can't believe this is happening to me. Not unlike when I had my heart attack. I can't believe this is happening. And also, after my first checkup, the doctor looked at all of my heart and he says, you've got a big triathlete heart. Said there's not one bit of illness or blockage here. And I said, he said, because of your stress, your body produced cholesterol, I think he called it, and that blocked it. And we're just finished editing a friend of mine's book, Michael Borger, and he spent his whole life as a doctor, and he has developed programs to help us live our most effective, amazing life. And if anybody's interested, I'll send you a link.
After watching this podcast, people may want to reach out to you and ask you questions. Are you open to that?
Totally.
What's the best way to contact you?
You could do it email. You've got my email. You can post it there. And I welcome anybody to do it. As much has been given, so I would love to give too.
All
If
right.
there's anybody out there that's, we've had people that are suicidal. And when they realize that it's really nice, rather than logically saying, oh, I'm going to do it then, they realize how much they have to give. And suddenly it's like opening up the tap or taking the cork out of a wine bottle. They say, I can do this. I said, it's not about you. Whenever you get suicidal, you've been stagnant water. If you've ever seen a stream where there's a pool where water doesn't flow, it becomes septic. It becomes horrible. You can die from drinking it. It's poisonous. However, if you're kind and you're giving, the water flows through your spirit and out to others, and it keeps you from becoming stagnant. Stagnant water will sit you, oh, I hate life. Oh, nobody loves me. Oh, this, that, and the other. No, don't be stagnant. Get your butt out there. If nothing else, go to an old folks home and just go and talk to people. Smile at the person that's actually checking you out at Walmart. Be kind, be patient. And you'll find suddenly you'll feel better because you're giving back. If you make someone smile, you can tell. Look and see if there's a mother with a couple kids, and with the price of groceries now, they're checking out in front of you, and you can see this is killing them. Go just wave at the cashier and say, ma'am, let me put my credit card in that machine for her. Yeah, you spent $100. Can you imagine the effect that you'll make on that lady's life? Be kind, be generous. You don't get to keep any of this stuff. It's all going away. It's monopoly money. You've given away nothing.
Tim, before we finish up, can you give us one more positive message?
Doesn't matter how far down you are. I went from millionaire to negative in 3 weeks, lost everything I knew and had. And I had counseled at a place that people getting out of jail, people on drugs would come, kind of a last chance ministry. And I walked into them and I said, hey guys. They said, hey, Mr. Tim. And I said, can we have an honest moment? And they said, sure, what? I said, how many of you, I want to see your hands, believe the only reason I'm so happy is because of my money, because of my Mercedes, because of my horses? And they all says, oh, hell yeah. If you were like us, you wouldn't be so happy. And I said, guys, 2 weeks ago, I lost everything. Most of you own more than I do right now. And you know what? I love life. God's got a different plan for me. It's just like a railroad train that the tracks moved. And I said, never count God out. I don't care how low or how down you are. There's good things coming. And they looked and said, no. And I said, come on and look. All that stuff, it's not mine anymore. That probably made such an impression upon them. It's not the things, what's in your heart. Go out and do something good.
Tim, thank you for your message, and thank you for being my guest.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it, and I enjoyed it.
I
It's
enjoy.
much easier than having to type it.
Yes. Thanks for watching the JeffMara podcast. I really appreciate you. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. And if you do, there are loyalty badges and other perks depending on your level of membership. All you need to do is click the join button underneath the video to find out more. Thank you for your support.